shall we get started? It's, yeah, small group, so that's fine. That's fine. We can have a good discussion. Because we need to, there's work that needs to be done anyway, so might as well. Okay. Yes. Everybody can just, stand here. A lot of regions are doing outreach. You know, India, Latin America. I was just over in the Africa region doing outreach. So I think let's share information. It'll be, I think, good to have regional mentoring. I mean, regions doing labs or whatever other things, draft review teams, and then come back up, because I think it's better for, to have that and then centralize. There's a lot of stuff, the best practices. I know each region is doing a lot of things. So if we can coordinate, I want to start an email list so that we can keep in touch. I'm also thinking with the internet draft review teams, one thing that might work is for the regions to coordinate that. And you guys get like 2, 3, 4 people together. And once you've got a core group that works, then come up. Because it's what happens is that we try to coordinate and somebody doesn't answer, so if you guys have already pre-qualified, if you know what I mean, if you've pre-qualified the people who are interested and I have these 5 people for this working group, then you tell me. And am I making sense with any of this? So this is a small group. So let's just talk. But let's talk on the microphone, because what Harish said is that he has some software that if this is recorded, he has software he can convert so we have meeting minutes. Okay. So
I'm Diego Duchovny. It makes sense. In fact, okay. I have some projects that may have some synergy on this. Okay, that may complement this idea, and I think we can have a nice result. In fact, okay. But I think that the tools are ready to do it. So we need to make them evolve. I think that ready to be pushed to test them. Okay, so they have developed already, and make them evolve and see how it behaves then. But I think they have the tools to do this.
So you have some projects started already in your region? Is that what you're saying?
The thing is the tools for the labs, in fact. Okay, so let's see. I think first was we were discussing yesterday with Christian. Okay, about code match. Okay, sure. on one side. Okay, and there's a project, an European project called FI Interop, which that project will fit really on this side, and I think that will match the objectives of this.
Very good. Yes, I was at the IoT one. Yeah, I was at that meeting too. I think that's very, very good. After I do a couple of my things, Harish is going to talk about what's going on in India, so he can tell you 2, 3 things there. Okay, so.
Hi, I'm Harish from National Internet Exchange of India, and what we are doing there is we are collaborating with the different universities, and I am talking about the Internet Research Labs, or basically the idea is to based upon the internet drafts or the best practices, we are going to create the test beds to test how it is working and what are the shortcomings or limitations, or what are the advantages, or that test fine or that it is not working correct, so that we have a clear-cut idea through the implementation. The second is we are also planning to have labs throughout India. So there, it's one on IoT. We will discuss it further today with Carsten, and on TLS so that because a few labs are easy to implement, few are, we have to discuss among the community how to implement, and these kind of things we are planning, and we are also moving ahead very enthusiastically.
Good, good. Yeah. So let me go and then. Oops. It's not okay. Yeah. So, like we were just talking about, there's been conversation with 6LO, 6TISH people, and then also TLS. What we thought is let's not go crazy. Let's do two things. We focus on IoT, TLS. Because like Harish said, there's a lot of work being done in IoT already, and TLS is pretty easy. And I've started the connection with some of the people in the TLS group who say, yes, we can think of things that you can test. And then there's test TLS 1.3 servers, so on. So all that work is proceeding. This is all very experimental, because there's some questions people are like, is this going to take too much effort? We don't know, but we have to try, because I think it's a very good way to bring new people into the IETF. And also,
so when you say
please, yeah.
Fred Baker, when you say focus on TLS, what does that mean? Does that, do we bring in Steve Fenter's problem?
This is a separate discussion. Well, no, not quite yet. What we mean by focus on TLS is we'll have TLS 1.3 server, TLS 1.3 client, and I'm actually have been writing the Wireshark dissector for TLS 1.3. And actually, TLS 1 is very good, because we have set up an implementers email list where we can discuss. That was in preparation for this kind of thing. So in the lab, we tested, because I think there's 2-3 prototype servers already. We implemented NSS, which is the one for Mozilla. We have that. So that's how we can copy. We can look at the Wireshark dissector. We can create a set of PCAPs. What Fred is referring to is one of the people on another project I'm on has a problem with TLS 1.3. The problem he has is too advanced for this lab. So this is just pure. What does it work? Because what I think, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm reading a specification, if I don't see the packets, maybe some people can go through the specification, understand perfectly the protocol flow. I am not one such. If I see the packets, it's much easier for me to understand. TLS 1.3 spec is 140 pages or whatever it is, So then I go back and forth. I say, I see now what has happened to the certificate. Can't see it. Okay, so now I understand a little bit. So I go back and read the spec, because I think this is how then all of a sudden something clicks and you go, there's a hole right here in the spec. That's my thinking. But you guys tell me what you think. And again, if we have regional mentors who are working with these labs, working with the people, everybody in that group goes, yeah, you're right. There is a hole right here. So then you come up with something right to the email list. Does this make sense to you at all, what I'm saying?
Actually, this kind of lab setup, when we went to universities and students were there, they are doing the engineering projects and all, so they are more inclined to see what is actually happening through the Wireshark packets rather than going through 140 pages from first page to last one. So it will create the interest, lab setup. And I know there are so many questions associated to it, but we all have in the community can give one or another answer, and we can jointly move forward. I think.
Yeah, at least that's kind of the vision, is that the labs will help people. We have the newest versions of things. And for me, one of the very interesting things too is I wanted to write the Wireshark dissector, because if you write the Wireshark, the protocol dissector, you understand the protocol. That's why I wanted to write it. And I think people in the labs too, I mean, you have so many students. If somebody says, okay, I'll write the Wireshark dissector for this piece of code, I think that's a very good opportunity to learn. I also know the people at Wireshark very well. And they're very open, you know, they can help too. So. So now I'm going to have Harish, if you would, maybe you can talk about some of the things you guys are doing in India. So this is your presentation.
It's like
Yeah, just for me. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I can advance it. Yeah, no, it's a PDF. So I just have to go to the next screen. You tell me what screen. Okay, here's the next one. Okay.
Most of things are very experimental, and we have started it just to know what could be done to understand, IETF in a better manner for the students and the faculties who are working in the university. So we have a project called India IETF Capacity Building Program, in which the idea of IETF is, main is to how to implement the drafts and understand the whole process. So that is the main idea behind it. This is more like the practical implementation. Next, please. So during the Yokohama, we had talked about, we have some ideas regarding the lab, and then we jointly, we have talked to some universities. So there is a university, IEST in Sipur, and Dr. Jayasil, she is working on the NLP project. That is the to understand, this is related to the emailing list of IETF, because in a working group, when there are so many emails, so when a new person is joining, he would not able to understand from where to start, because there are so many questions. A list is very long. So just to make it easier for the new person, there is a project that is like natural language processing. So now work is started and it is in the process. So this is the example. Suppose there are so many, archive discussion list, and there are so many, threads inside it. So from where to start, who answered what, how to understand things from the starting. So that is the main idea behind the project. So for example, IETF main discussion list, a script is run which counts message, bytes, and sender. And this is not particularly, now this is the version, and please move further. So now we have identified the problem area. That is, the question is, how do you decide when you get an email in your box if you want to read it or not? So that is the main idea behind it. How to find out the relevant emails in this, because there are so many mails or so many big thread inside the emailing list. So from where to start? That is the main question. And yeah, please. So again, the second area is when reading the email list after the fact for any thread, you get comment on comments on comments. It would be a good deconstruct the chains as the comments were grouped by point within the topic. So that is how there are so many comments, and we are just constructing from where to start. So this greater than sign is the first speaker, and then response, and response to the response, and then the latest comment. So now this is how it will separate the different comments in the emailing list, so that we could understand from where to start. I mean, a new person who is joining any group, or this is the main idea. So informational RFCs for IETF email list archival, we have used, are planning to use these RFCs, RFC 6778 and 7842. So main idea, identify the area and scope of experimentation, identify the type of experimentation, and identify the mentor group, mainly subject expert, and identify the implementation group, so that we can move further depending upon the requirements. So these are the action points: identify the area and scope and email list analysis through the natural language processing, identify the experimentation, and this is the new research and algorithm. Depending, now this is a very, okay. Oh, no. So these are the 4 action points: identifying the mentor group and identify the implementation group. Finally, the implementation, what we are doing is Nalini Elkins with the Dr. Jayasil, Anand Raje, me, and the group of people are working on it. So basically, this is the whole new framework we are started with. So this is the very wider idea about this methodology, how to define the solution domain, then depending upon that implementation, develop algorithm, and finally the implementation. This is the very broad and generalized idea behind the. So we can skip that one. Yeah, basically that is the, again we are explaining the each and every step. So now the future work is like how to solution, so that we can I mean, we are working on the solution domain, email clustering and summarization techniques, and in IETF 96 we will discuss more, and we'll have more mentors and authors looped in while work towards the draft. So that this is just an idea I have represented, that how to start with an emailing list, and because there are several threads inside it, and how we can make it better depending upon the discussion. Now this is the idea of IoT lab. Regarding that, we are connected with T2TRG research group, so that how labs can be implemented. So now in the Kaziranga University campus, we have done a memorandum of understanding with the Kaziranga. KU is for the Kaziranga University for multiple activities. The mentor is Dr. Buyan, and the focus area is how to make the whole campus IPv6 enabled using the IoT devices. And this is the main idea behind the this experimental initiative. So that is all about it. So this is the whole experimenting thing.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Harish. What I think is good is so regions are doing so much work. If we can collaborate, each have Latin America, India cooperation, Africa, I mean all over. I think that's very, very good, because, and I think it would be very good to say, you guys have done this work. We are doing this work. Do you want to help with us? Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. So I let me see what else is. Yeah.
So, and this is Diego Duhovne again. What we involved in the development of experimental platforms quite a long time, okay, about 6 years, 7 years. Okay, so the thing is, from the one side, the experiment that there have been in the last 6, 7 years. Okay, there have been a little evolution on the number of facilities, international facilities, general international facilities to test and to experiment. because of first of all, because of a research oriented problem, meaning that you have to reproduce your experiment some way in a predictable way. That was one of the first idea we had over there. Okay, and the second is that you can let the people from all around the world, in fact, to test them in a variety of things. So you offer your hardware, you offer the interface, you offer the management interface, in fact, so they can test your things, or you test your algorithms, or test your binaries, okay, in different devices. The point is that I've been working, in fact, on wireless devices, from 800 to 11 to IoT devices and in the middle. So that's what I have my experience on, and I think that is already available. Okay, but as maybe 100 nodes, 200 nodes, platforms, and so on. However, the platform have their limitations, and another way of thinking is just to get the platform in your pocket, meaning that you have very devices which are smaller, which are available, and you can bring to your lab. Okay, and you can reproduce this platform, okay, in your lab, okay, without the controllable environment you have in very big platforms, but you can start there, okay, and then scale. That's one of the ideas. Okay, so talking about that, okay, the devices today, with the devices today, you can do that, okay, in a small scale manner, okay, and test the things by yourself, okay, and then put them in availability for many other universities or many other places. So I think is either you have very big development sites, maybe in installation, okay, and then you have this small platform in your pocket things, okay, that you have 3, 4, 5 nodes where you can test small interoperability on two sides. On this, so it's not difficult in terms of hardware to do it. Okay, the things, the hardware is available, hardware is commercially available, and that way, talking about devices such as IoT devices, they're standard. Okay, you can test many things on them. And on the side of, as I mentioned before, okay, on the side of platforms, first of all, no, I think it's here about Code Match. Maybe talk a little about that, maybe, okay, and we were trying to make synergy, okay, again with the other FF interop. So that provides what you mentioned before. It works directly on the packet captures. So yes, you have one packet capture from the one side to the other and says, okay, this works and this does not work, and so on. So it compares all the time. I have a sequence of things. And this project has also some, FF interop has some advantages in that because it's starting now. So they have some preliminary a skeleton of things working now to show that it works, and it will have some resources for those who want to compete for resources. We want to extend this platform to provide new test suites and to use the platform. So they have the resources for the community, okay, just to compete for them, okay, and to say the best projects will win and have the resources to work on them. So I think it's a way not only to work on that project, but to offer it and make it useful for the people.
What I'm thinking is, if we, I want to make sure other people have, we have all our information in one place, and other people have too. Maybe we can, my team, the whole Edu Mentoring Directorate, we're having a meeting on Thursday. So what I think sounds good is, if you guys agree, is maybe we set up some web pages, because I think some things, maybe they can be test web pages to start with. We can't make them open to the community immediately because we probably will make some mistakes to start with. And but at least if we have consolidated, or at least parts of the wiki. I mean, we start maybe with a wiki and say, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Because one of the things is like, because there's with labs, there's a lot of security issues, it's like, if you open it up, who can log in? What if you get a virus? but posting, and of course the same problem with posting binaries is like somebody posts posts a binary, there's a virus in it, it gets downloaded. Is IETF liable for the virus that just got, you know what
Never
I'm
thought
saying?
about that. Okay, but the point is that you post it, but the thing is, either your implementation is open source, meaning that you provide the source, and you may compile it online. That's not a problem. But it's a binary is yours. We are just you test it and we discard it. We're not going to publish it. The thing is, it's yours. Okay,
it's yours. Yeah. We have to do the licensing, but that's the legal and all that framework. But I actually like that because remote access and all that is very tricky. But I think what I like a lot of those, especially the getting started with small device. Sure, you download, you get on started, very exciting. Then you can post, this was my experience when I did that. So the next person goes, okay. So then, but I think that makes for a rich environment too. But so my to-do is to discuss the collaborative, the web page or however we will do it, and the legal framework so that IETF is in no way liable if something goes wrong. Yeah. So but I think, okay. But this is very good. Any other?
So two things. So first of all, the progress we've made in Latin America, it's, I would say, in the initial steps, because we don't know yet how is it going to evolve. So we are very flexible. So whoever comes with an idea, we just support the idea without many things. Our support is just we're willing for them to success or something like that. So there's some collaboration between the different efforts that are being started now, like Diego in Chile, others in other countries in Latin America, and yours in India, will benefit each other on the experiences and things to do. And so we can probably put them all together on a mailing list or somehow, so they can learn from each other, because nowadays it's it's a white page. It's something that each one is doing their way. Yes. We don't have an advice for them. We don't have any kind of support. We don't provide any kind of equipment. So we need to shape this idea somehow. And if we put them all together, probably that's going to be the best way to do that. And Diego mentioned the code match tool. This is going to be useful for them because it's a way to document the code they are trying on the labs that are implementing there, and which IETF documents were used for that code. Sure. So I encourage you to use it. Let me know if you want to be we are not announcing it broadly because we are on a slow start mode. Sure. We want to have some testers or initial users, but the tool is done, it's ready, it's available, it's online. So whoever wants to use it, it's more than welcome. So yeah, I think the email list, so we can do the collaboration. I think that's very important, and we can already, and then a website or a web page just to say this is being done, this is being done, this is being done, and people can start the conversation. Whoever is starting, I think that, and that I think that's very good. I know what I get a lot is, this is all very good, but IETF is not a university. Our job is to do standards. And so in the end, this has to come to, there's a standard and we tested it, and or we implement or whatever, and there's a hole right here. So it goes back to the email list for comments. Is that? And that's not a benefit for the IETF. The reason that we are doing that in Latin America is that it helps us to engage more people. So it's more on the diversity objective of the IETF and not on the work itself. So that's why we are supporting. Sure. No, I think outreach is very important. Well, I think I was talking in another working group. I say, sometimes with IETF, it's like if you have a house and the first step is 5 feet high,
And only the people who can do a standing jump of 5 feet and one can come in. You need a few smaller steps, and then many more people can come in. But as I said, I'm just saying you from my perspective. Everybody says, people say to me, you spend all this time on this, that. Where's the output? Can you show me some metrics that say, you're not just talking and, but I think it's long term. It's a longer term effort. And I think it's very, very important. And I think the collaboration between different parts of the world, that's also very, very important. So, yeah, I think this is shocking. We have consensus in this group. It's a very select group. So, any other things we should? There is somebody on Meet Echo, but not. Yeah. Anything else? Should we have? I don't know. I'm thinking we should have meetings at every IETF just to say what is our progress. For some other projects, what I do is like a monthly summary of what has happened. Does that seem useful to say, this month we have this, and then you guys are on the email list? Yeah, Christian.
That's useful, but I wanted to add that you've mentioned a web page or something that can collect information. I can also offer, we went through the experience of creating a tool that it's part of Data Tracker, but it's not official IETF, like CodeMatch. So we can also help with some tool if it's required to reserve document or whatever we may need with the labs.
Sure.
Or with anything else. So we have already the connection to the database of Data Tracker, so we can extend or add additional applications without going through the tools team and all the, which the benefit for that is that it's faster and we, the small community, can create and support them. The downside is that it's not going to be as good as the one that's created an official from the Teams tool. It's something that it's more
prototype. I mean, yeah, you start with something.
Eventually they will take that, but in the meantime, it works. Informal.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine, because I think one of the things you may have missed, the thing about the internet draft review teams, because one of the problems we have is so many people sign up for internet draft review teams, and out of 5, in the end, maybe only 1 comes to the webcast. So I have somebody who's going to help do the code to match people already, so that I don't have to do it all by looking. And that's so he can work together. But the other thing is, if the regions, if you already say, I know I have these 2-3 people who are very serious, and then you send to me, and then we match them up with people from other regions, that will be very helpful, because I really believe in this draft review team concept. But I think that's, because I think that's for regional mentoring, I think that's another way to grow. Training, awareness, then the review groups, and then the labs. I think let's not do more. That already, that already is a lot. If we can show success, that's why I say show success throughout. If I get a very good contribution, if I get a very good comment on the email list as a result of some of these review teams, I know Edwin has been involved with some, and then I send to, because I have IESG, IESG, of course, I can't just do like this. I have to say what happened. So if I get a very good comment, I send up to them and say, look, this, this new person commented, and look, this is very nice. And people look at that. That's because in the end, our job is to create very good standards. So that must, It can, I don't mind taking a long time. Not, I mean, not forever, but it's not like a company where every quarter you have to show. That's not the right attitude. But a year, 2 years, in the end, something has to be very productive. So I think the focus is good. I like that. And I think, frankly, small team is much better. If there's 100 people here, we'll never get anything done. So good. Very good. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Sure. Where's that little sign up thing? Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah. Where are we? So, oh, great. Great.
But we're doing also looking a lot of outreach, the IETF, make this.
Oh, very good.
So I'm also really happy to see that there are actually simultaneously meetings going on, trying to focus on that, because I've been looking around and so they actually had who are the people who are doing this and how can we support them. So
Great. No, that's very good, because we also, okay, there's good thinking. Let me give you my card too. There's an effort also going on in, well, I mean, behind the scenes. It's like you always have to try to do a charter, because